Hi, everyone, and welcome to Men Up, the only podcast out there that invite men to open up their heart and share about their struggles, stories, pain, traumas in order to create a safe space for man to be vulnerable and to be able to redefine masculinity. And
Mm.
today, I'm so honored to invite to the space Tobias Tubbs, who's going to share his incredible healing journey
Mm.
in 28 years in jail for a crime you never committed.
Yes.
I don't know where even to begin, but you know what? I feel that, tomorrow is Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
And Yom Kippur is the day for forgiveness.
Yes.
And one of the things that I'm curious to hear from you is what's forgiveness is for you
Mm.
and how you got to the place after sitting in jail for 28 years for a crime you never committed and how you find the place to forgive whoever put you
Mm.
in jail, whoever judge you for that,
Mm.
how you reach this place of forgiveness.
First of all, thank you.
Thank you.
Uh, I've come to understand that invitations are sacred.
Mm-hmm.
The divine invites us to experience Him, it,
Mm-hmm.
uh, through invitation. Know me, understand me, study creation. And so to get the invitation first to come here is not taken lightly. So thank you. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. First of all, I believe that uh, it's past a belief, and it's actually past a knowing. I've experienced
Mm-hmm.
that the greater the capacity to love benevolently uh, allows us to forgive equally to that capacity. That doesn't come easily. Um, yes, 3 decades in my adolescence for a crime I didn't commit. Trauma is trauma to my understanding and experience due to not understanding why or how or the significance of the events that are taking place, whether those events are physical, psychological, or even spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fortunate to have parents, three in number, who gave me in my adolescence, in my childhood, a worldview that in the most difficult times of my humanity, that I won't fall into the deep depths of insanity. And insanity in this regard is doing the same things over and over and over and getting the same result, thinking that you'll get a different result.
Mm-hmm.
And that is coming from a place of hatred, coming from a place of hostility, coming from a place of revenge, coming from a place of vendetta. In 1991, South Central Los Angeles, uh, we were caught in a very dark and wicked place with what is now called the era of mass incarceration, the new Jim Crow.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who do not know, just for a little context, Jim Crow is the era in America, world, and African history in which we came out of the most, brutal and inhumane forms of slavery. into a system in which reinvented itself to keep African American men, women, and children into what they believed at that time was the right to perpetual slavery. So, fast forward to 1991, when I was arrested under a theory, under a narrative that African American males were super predators. And it was an atavistic gene, they said. I didn't even know what atavism was. That we inherited the criminal gene from our fathers or grandfathers, to be exact. And we did not have the capacity to transform our neuroplasticity or our neurology.
Mhm.
And so, after being called incorrigible, and this is where I will answer your question, having the capacity to forgive is really the capacity to love, is when they condemned me to death and they called me incorrigible. And I didn't even know what the word was, to be incorrigible. That means cannot be corrected, cannot be cured, to have no human good.
Mhm.
And so, from the time of 20 to 23, I was in the LA County Jail, and I seen just the darkest and most hurtful, just madness. You know, this is a building that is, stories up and stories down underneath the ground, concrete, steel, and just people hurting people. And there's two things that I've seen that happens. You become so desensitized that you start to justify the violence, or you become so sensitized that you want to do something about it. And having, once again, parents, my biological parents are freedom fighters. They were or are Black revolutionists. And my birth out of 4 children is the response to what they felt was the devastation that COINTELPRO, which was FBI, Mr. Hoover's attempt to demolish the Black Messiah, in any positive Black men or males that came to fight against Jim Crow. COINTELPRO is the era before my birth in 1970. And so my parents, who were 23 at the time that I actually went to prison, I was arrested at 20, they were very deliberate and intentional in having a son and being freedom fighters, revolutionists, and Muslims moving towards that. They named me Tobiah, which is
In Hebrew, tuvia. It's good.
Tuvia.
Mhm.
Not only good, but the epitome of God's goodness.
Mhm.
Think of
Yeah.
all the African names they could have named me, all the
True.
Islamic or Arabic
Mhm.
names, but they named me Tovia or Tobiah or Tobias. And there is a saint, and this is the saint of healing, the saint of reconciliation. And his angelic double is Raphael,
Mhm.
which is God's physician,
Mhm.
God's healer.
Yeah.
And so there is a narrative that was or is attached to my emergence into this physical world. So there is no healing. There is no rehabilitation. What is rehabilitation?
Mhm.
You feel me? It's to
Yeah.
be made able again. So when was I able or had ability in the first place? How far must I go to find that archetype, to find that person? And I look back inside of my genetic memory through a lot of meditation, isolation, different forms of Tai Chi, different forms of prayer. And I found the place in which, in my ancestry, that we were the people who were seen as those who had the greatest potential to love and therefore forgive. And so my whole plight for the 28 years in which I was in places called Death Valley, California, 130 degrees weather, no shade, no drinkable water, to forgive. To forgive, first of all, myself.
Why? Why? Like, what I'm trying to
Yeah.
understand is like why you need to forgive yourself, because you know that you never committed this crime.
Yes. I come from the understanding that Adam, Eve, Adam, Hawa, Hava, Asar, Osiris, I go on and on.
Yeah.
That this archetype of humanity, that whatever is in you is in me.
True.
So I must find you in me. And if you are hurting me, for one, you can't hurt me, because I'm not this little hat that one of my buddies gave me. I'm not this shirt that everybody seems a lot, or this little Apple Watch, or this skin that we cling to. I'm not the remnants of muscles when I was a bodybuilder, not weightlifter. This is not me. This is a vehicle similar to the van that I drove here. Me is the divine light, the spirit of the divine that was placed inside of this vehicle, and to most people, prison. And so I found that the same harm, the hurt, the treachery, the evilness, the injustices that were afflicted upon me, I have the same capacity in my worst self.
Yeah.
And so once I seen myself in that light, or even in that darkness, that I understood what was needed, not only to forgive. And often when we say forgive, it's really not even about the individual that's harming me. It is giving ourselves enough space, jab distance, so that your harm does not taint me, that your assault does not taint me, that your violation, that your perversion does not taint my spirit, taint my soul. So forgiveness is just giving me an opportunity to move upward, deeper into or above the atrocities that were happening to me.
Wow, that's...
And you promised to hold my hand, and you didn't.
And
you promised, you said when we started up, we're going to hold hands. You said that, so you said, bro, you can always shoot straight with me. Don't play with me. We brothers, we in this forever. And the reason why I say this, if we can't hold each other's hand, what's powerful about holding up the hand is human contact. We have hands so we can hold each other's hands, brother.
You're so right.
Contact. The same way if a person would punch you or chop you or take a stick and hit you, that relays a certain energy to your body. The hatred, the foolishness, the whatever that's driving that insanity. That's a violation against your humanity. So the same way I'm holding your hand, I am passing something to you and you me.
True.
And you know this.
I know this.
You are a touch master. So I just wanted to hold your hand, brother, because you promised me.
And I'm so sorry that I didn't start. I was so excited to start.
Oh, brother. And the point of this is I held men's hands. I've hugged. That was the whole point of the forgiveness, is once you can forgive, we can make contact.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yes. contact with ourselves, contact with our brothers, with God, with everything. And it really reminds me of a moment
Mm.
of wow, wow, that was mind blowing what he just said, because I love
Mm.
words, and I love playing with words, and
Mm.
to feel
Mm.
the you
Mm.
know the the secrets that
Yeah.
words kind of holds.
Yeah.
And when you said that, it's all of a sudden, yeah, reassure me of what I shared with you the first time that we
Yes.
sat in front
Yes.
of each other. And this moment when I'm bringing the Zohar into my
Yes.
place, and
Yes. Yes.
I went into this rabbit hole, and I was finding myself like wanted to kill myself all of a
Yes.
sudden in my bathroom.
Yes.
And then, but wait a second, what exactly why I want to kill myself even? And then, okay, I don't want to really want to kill myself, but which part of me I want to kill?
Come on.
And then I y- I reached out to a friend, and he helped me to to just resolve that moment. And all of a sudden I got hit by this channel, or
Yes.
God was whispering and
Yes.
said, how can I really isolate this ego, this vehicle, this
Yes.
body, and as you're
Yes.
saying, create this space for
Yeah.
myself.
Forgive.
Yeah. And create this space, because I am not
Mm.
this body.
Come on, brother.
I'm an infinite light that live in this vessel. So how I can detach from this layer of body, that being soaking this life, this trauma, this pain, and I was convincing myself that this is who I am. And all of a sudden, poof, it's not.
That is the greatest lie that the devil tells us,
Mm-hmm.
that we are our bodies, because we attack bodies. So if I can get you locked inside of your body, your skin, who you are perceiving that to be, then I got you. You're already in prison. You can be on the streets, whatever the case may be. You're locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty of when you shared about the certain circumstances and situations that's happening to you, and you spoke about the rabbit hole, the proverbial rabbit hole. If you look at the story of Yahweh Seth, or they call Joseph, or
Yeah.
Yusuf, according to who's listening,
Yeah.
the word Joseph or Yahweh Seth, it means the Seth is the building, the empowering, the coming together. But he was thrown in a well, a deep place, a rabbit hole,
Mm-hmm.
and God spoke to him there. Yahweh spoke to him there. Jehovah spoke to him there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why when they took him out the rabbit hole, he just got beat up by his brothers.
True.
Drugged through the desert, drugged over Rachel's grave, his mother's grave.
Mm-hmm.
And why, when they lifted him, look at this beautiful young man. So how did that beauty, how was he able to forgive Big Brother, who was entrusted, who lied to the father, that I'll be entrusted with this young man? And right before they got out of their father's sight, they violated the trust. And then blamed that the wolf ate him. And then you go put the crime on somebody else. So while he was in that space, and so that is what was similar to the rabbit hole for me in the killing of myself. We do have to kill ourselves, but it's not the self in which the ego, it's not the suicide in which people believe in. It is the self that is attached to all the pain, the lies, the misnomers, the false just doctrines and propaganda that's been placed upon this. That has to die. But as in the narrative of Tobiah, the father and the son, he goes to he's on a journey for his father. I told you, my father is very dear to me. Joseph, father.
Yeah.
He meets Sarah. Sarah has had 7 husbands but none can consummate the marriage
Mhm.
because there is a certain demented form of masculinity that has pervaded the culture. And so Tobiah, with the help of Raphael, chases him out of the bedroom because there was levels of perversion that killed off the masculinity that men in that society cannot even produce.
Mhm.
Come on now, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, brother. And so they said, according to the scripture, that this particular demon ran to Egypt. And when it ran to Egypt, Tobiah, remember Joseph was in Egypt.
Yeah.
The Christ Messiah is known to escape to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot always going on. Moses, Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
That Tobiah and Raphael, to your point, they caught this particular spirit, and I never say his name, but I know him personally. Because remember, there's nothing outside of us.
I know exactly what you mean, this darkness.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's a perv.
He's there,
He's all the
he's
time.
Like always knocking.
Oh. And the beauty of this is that they didn't kill him. They binded him. And they forced him to submit to good.
Mm-hmm.
And thus he became a lesson for humanity. How that allowed me to forgive. Just for instance, when you come into the prison, they strip you down, naked, literally. And then they become so ornery. Normally, you show your hands, your mouth, your nose, eyes, your buttocks, your scrotum, your feet. They got so disgusting and vile, they'll tell you to crack your behind open first, then your scrotum, then put it in your mouth. Mm-hmm. And if you pause, they will beat you. And I've seen them beat people to death with my eyes. And remember, I'm a revolutionist, baby. Mm-hmm. My natural instinct is to fight, to stop it. And so you have to do something with that energy. You have to do something with it. And so now what allows me tonight, you asked me, how you doing, brother? I said, for one, brother, I don't even come out at night. My life is so comfortable, I don't have to come out at night. Yeah. So to be able to drive from where I live to here, which is quite a distance, what would allow me to do that? What will agree to, after getting up 4:30 this morning, going through all I got to go through in a day, paying my taxes, which is a whole affair within itself, yeah. And then to drive an hour and 30 minutes during rush hour traffic to come meet a man in the soul that I promised, is because we take our darkest moments and we make them our brightest moments. So true. That's the point. Mm-hmm. That entity of perversion that kills men's masculinity, that they cannot procreate with the Sarah, the sacred femininity. That's who Sarah represents, the sacred feminine. And it takes a level of goodness, Tobiah, to touch into those darkest moments. And the whole time I'm talking, and apparently it's been 24 minutes, is explaining to you how I have the capacity to forgive. So for those that we're jumping around, no, we're really not jumping around. This is the same line of thought, but I'm just saying it in various different ways. Whether it's the neuroplasticity, and our greatest thing as human beings, we can change ourselves and we can choose to do whatever we want to do. That's very simple. Or we can go through scripture, we can go through mythologies, we can just go through just in our humanity, that the greatest potential we have is to love others with great capacity and to forgive at will. But when we say forgive, in that forgiveness, there is not, as we say, forgetting. I'm not going to forget. Interesting. Forget.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to keep you at jab distance until you make amends. You have to be accountable for yourself. Just because I've forgiven you don't mean I'm going to get you in my space again for you to harm me again. Or to project your evilness, perversion, injustice upon me. Because you're not harming me. You're actually harming yourself. But the point of it is That's the key to our listeners. And no, we're just not forgiving that I'm gonna allow you to do it again. No. I'm going to equip myself with the proper spiritual, psychological, and if need be, physical tools so you don't harm me, or don't harm others.
How?
Personally, I just kind of explained to you. My father and mother, they divorced 1977. I was 7.
Mm-hmm.
My father asked me a very adult question. Son, are you going with me or staying with your mother? Imagine that, 7 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. Now think about that. So when you say this is a safe place, vulnerable place, this is a place where men can come and speak of their pains, their triumphs, their journeys. At 7 years old, I chose to go with my father. Wow. At 7, you're still really under your mother's care and to pubescence. And then normally in most cultures, Islamic, Jewish, African cultures, you still on mama's ankle,
Mm-hmm.
off the tit, off the waist to the ankle. But I chose my father. And I had 3 siblings, 3 sisters. So that would mean whatever me and my father was about to go engage in our new lives, that it would not be with my mother and my 3 sisters. At 7. Me and my fathers went to Leimert Park. Leimert Park is the heart of South Central Los Angeles still to today. The majority of black and brown men who were taken into mass incarceration in California is centered around the gangs of that area. Then it spreads on out from there to Watts, Compton, Long Beach, San Diego, Inglewood, etc. And living with my father was 30 years old. I'm 7. At that time, my father was being watched by the FBI. And he was blessed, and this is another story we can go off into. I asked my father, how didn't they kill you when they killed all your friends? And my father was very active. My father's an electrical engineer, electrical contractor. So he understood electricity. He understood power grids. He understood explosives.
Mm-hmm.
He understood asymmetric warfare, just to give people the right context. Like, how in the world did that young boy, 7 years old, sit up under a revolutionist who was trained not to fight, but to kill?
Mm-hmm.
Now is speaking of the highest human capacity, which is to love. So I just wanted to give that in context. So my father is teaching me that any minute the FBI is going to run through that door, just like they did his friends, and kill him and me. That's a lot for a little boy to grasp. Some people said it was abuse. Some people said it was neglect. No, my father was and is a revolutionist, and he's preparing his son for the realities. My point, how do we forgive and don't forget? My father armed me with vital information. My father placed me around his friends. The Jewish community adopted my father in the 60s. The Jewish community in which I'm sitting in now, these are their probably grandkids and kids. My father was the first black man to run a electrical site downtown because Jewish men owned the businesses in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
That's how. So there's always been something with him. I was eating kosher at 7, food. Brother, I was sitting with my uncles, and I still have the ones who are still alive. My father's 80.
And you're a Muslim.
Brother, I am a Muslim. At one time, I was a Muslim black revolutionist. Until recently, I just really dropped all them titles and stuff. But for surely, I'm a Muslim by definition and by literal of shalom, salam, hotep, nirvana. I am a person who embodies peace, and I move in that peace despite of and in spite of whatever anybody got going on.
The media wants us to think
Yes,
of what's
the same
religion
salam,
is.
shalom, You know, Jews were saying shalom alaikum before Muslims were saying salam alaikum.
Shalom aleichem.
You feel me? Come on, brother.
Yeah.
Me and you ain't gonna play
We
on this
speak the same
couch,
language.
brother.
Yeah.
Brother, it's sibling language, brother. We're the same
Speak
people.
the same language.
So for our listeners who depend on explanation, my father was a buff in mythology. He was a buff in psychology. He was a buff in conspiracy theories. Being an electrical contractor, he understood elements. So these are like practical things that he gave his son. And for one, my father would leave me home for like 5 to 7 days by myself at 7 to 9 years old. Call me, son, move the car. Move the car where? Around the corner. I'm driving the Cadillac around my father had. He always kept a Booney Mobile, which is the Booney car, the ones you take in the woods when the world is going to be over. And my father already had a work truck, and he always kept a Cadillac. And so it would be my responsibility, whatever 2 cars that he wasn't, for me to move it on one side of the road right into the alley. Just imagine people seeing like a 7-year-old, 8-year-old literally driving, but they got used to it. And so the tools to understand situational awareness, worldview, it's war. My father gave me the greatest compliment that he can ever give me. And he gave it to me recently again. He said, I love you, son. That's very powerful because I took the love of my father into the prison system. Because 99.9 men that I've met and experienced inside the prison system, their father never said, I love you, son. Their father never kissed them on the cheeks, on the lips and forehead, and said you was worth something. So I was the first one to hold their hands and they hold mine. I was the first one to tell them that I loved them. And I said, and they asked me, why you love me? And I said, no, the greater question is, why wouldn't I love you? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't I love you? Explain to me why you're not lovable.
Yeah, that's powerful.
So these are the tools. I used to pay the rent, 7, 8, 9 years old. My father taught me how to, if there's any elder that needs help. My father received all these stories when I was gone. They called me the Prince of the Murd, So the tools that allow you to get the right kind of jab distance on the sword, or to push a predator, even the thoughts of the predator or the culture of the predator or the passions that's been impressed upon us, is having the right tools and weapons. And my father said, son, you have a superior weapon than me. My father is a tool man. He's a weapon man, still today, 80 years old. He says, the tools that I use in my revolution in the 50s and 60s, they destroyed, but they don't build anything. Guns, explosives, they build nothing. Mm-hmm. He said, love destroys and builds. He says, son, you have dismantled the system and they have released you. And now hundreds to thousands or more people have been released. I was one of the first 7 released and be commuted. And I'm the first Muslim to ever be commuted as a Muslim. Called an urban terrorist in 1991 before 9/11, that they said, called me an urban terrorist. And to today, I guarantee you have fought more people physically than I have. Because I fought none. No one can call you up and said, this man in high school, why? Because I had to evade people. Bro, not that I couldn't fight. My father taught me how to fight. He didn't tell me how to dismantle people very quickly. Mm-hmm. When I get in the room, what's the escape route? What's the scapegoat? The whole 9 in. He bred, I'm a child soldier, like I was in the Congo or Vietnam or something. And so the point of this is tools. Tools. What tools are you giving our children so in their worst moments, in their darkest moments, that they can utilize those tools and make it their brightest moment? And so although I was in a carceral state, I was in a place where not only will we place you in these places, your punishment and humiliation is warranted by the state. And that's what people don't understand. Let me put it in context for you. they start shooting us and killing us so much that the state told the prison system, you got to just stop killing them. Just stop choking people out. Stop busting their heads off. And, we get it, but nah. So they start neglecting us. You offered me water today. Thank you. But I've been in situations where I have to drink water out the toilet. And you will. People tell me, oh no, you will. You will. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Why? Because they cut the water off. And when they cut the water off, it's nothing less but the toilet water. And if your body has rights, and water is one of them. So something simple as that, they stop giving us toilet paper. If you eat, you're going to defecate. If you defecate, you're going to have to clean yourself. And you'll clean yourself whatever you can or you won't. And then if you're not cleaning yourself properly, the feel of it, the smell of it, then you're in the cell with someone else. This is where the madness begins. Because you have to escape. Because you don't want the smell. You just took a deep breath. You don't. So most people turn on their cellies and try to kill him because you can't reach the guard. You can't reach the system, the warden. So we harm those closest to us. That's why it's important that we touch each other. Because we're talking about some rough stuff, bro.
Yeah.
And you asked me to. You called me, brother.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, brother, to come here and talk. So it constantly that we have to reconfirm our humanity as we hold each other hand and we hold each other accountable for the light that you and I have been given, for the love. Because then you said, that you're a spirit of light, and that light is driven by love, brother. All of it. The first thing that we have been told, and this is all scripts. That's why I run them all. I don't care if you're talking about the Anuka people, the Sumerian, the people of Atlantis. It don't matter. My father armed me. So whatever you on, I'm going to hold you to what you on. I don't need you to be on what I'm on. Because your ego going to say he black, your ego going to say he's a Muslim. Yeah, I got you. But who you claim to be? Who you claim? If you claim to be Catholic, okay, well, I'm Tobias. I'm your saint. Okay.
I'm Yemen, Arab, Jewish man, and brown man. So I was trying to live in this world that's trying to separate us and, and weakening us and try to dehumanize,
Yes.
And it's insane to me. It's insane. Like everything you're saying, I'm like just soaking everything. And you said something about like how the system is kind of, as in prison, the system is kind of trying to break you and dehumanize
break your spirit,
you.
brother. Break your spirit.
The one that you're going to hurt the first is the one that
closest to you.
And that's and it's crazy because I feel that this is the whole kind of brainwash that we're forced into, and that's what holds war out there, and that what's hold this violent cycle that we are, as you said, hurt people, hurt people.
As heal people, help each other heal. This is basic history. My father was a history buff. Okay, look at American history, United States history. The people who hurt themselves, they hurt their wives and they hurt their kids first until they got somebody else to hurt. And then when, other Europeans came from other countries, oh man, we're going to hurt them. And then when we get some more immigrants or them who ain't like us, we're going to team up like I just didn't get finished hurting you against them. And this is kind of like the culture that we have, that all of us going to forgive.
Yeah.
No, we ain't going to forgive. But we going to click up because we're going to be a part of the dream against them. Hold on, he just dogged you out. Just dogged you.
I mean, I know it because we, as you said, the Europeans and, Israel is, so-called the Holy Land, but at the same time, it's so many awful things happen there since Israel created. And, a lot of Europeans came from after the Holocaust,
Yes,
and with
yes,
such a deep trauma. And
yes,
as we know, trauma is want to be, if you're not healing yourself or like facing it, you will project it.
brother.
So
Projected
you
and
will project it
passive.
on my people, all the
Yeah, no,
Mizrahi, the brown
yes,
people, and the
yes,
Arabs,
yes,
and you're doing the same.
yes, yes,
And the problem is pride,
yes.
because pride won't
Mm,
let us heal
mm.
until we will admit that we made
There you
mistakes.
go. Right there. Accountability. I'm sitting with a sister, very powerful sister, and we're talking about the womb, and we're creating a movement. Can't put too much out there because I'm under silence. But the point of it is, I said, sis, I need you. She's one of the heads of the county. She deals with women's procreative rights. Black women die more than any other women in America when it comes to having children, bearing children, just so much work she's done. And I said, sis, we need you. We need you to lead this movement. What would you need to be a part? And she said, accountability. I said, She said, brother, no one has taken accountability for the atrocities that we as women had to endure since we've been brought here. We don't expect the people who brought us here to apologize, but at least my man can say, baby, I apologize, even that I wasn't the one there 500 years ago when he was raping you. When he was cutting open your body to create what we now know as gynecology. They experimented on black women's body, cutting them over, studying their ovaries, the body, putting them under all kind of foul experiences. Black women couldn't milk their own children. They had to milk this, you feel me? Slave master can come rape you, have you, pass you around, whatever the case might be. And so when you say trauma of that's called transgenerational trauma that passed from generation to generation, and cascading trauma, because it only gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Yep. And so now in the midst of that, so we're going to hold to our theme of resiliency, of that we can transform that, but it comes first with accountability. Somebody has to say, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I apologize. Yep. She, as they, as we need to say it. We need. I'm talking about not from the brain, but from our hearts. We have to face it. I was placed in a situation when I couldn't protect you, and now I treat you how they treat you, like you're shit, like you're nothing, like you're a whore, a Jezebel. I don't value you, your womb, or my children that even comes from you. Matter of fact, I see you how they see you. And when she said that accountability, brother, do you know that the president, they can't even say the word reparations? It doesn't. Even our brother, Barack Obama, you can count him if he said it, we can't do nothing about it, because that means you have to be held accountable. California, to its credit, is the only state, now there's a couple more trying to jump in, even trying to address whether it's realistic or not realistic. And, I don't need nobody personally to give me nothing. But it would be nice to say that was a very dark part of our history. Yes, we have built a whole culture based on the oppression of others, and we're not proud of it. And so can we come to the table and convene? Brother, we're not even that, but we can put a rocket on the moon, or, come on, bro. We can't even say, we can't even take accountability. Brother, for instance, somebody had the nerve to tell me, well, Tobias, you got out. That's over with. Turn your back on what happened to you. Now you're here on the streets, huh?
How? How you can turn your back?
Whoa. It just, whoa. I'm talking about the most hideous, inhumane behavior I'm talking about even I was so blessed and fortunate because, Psalms 23 is my Psalm 91. These are the Psalms I was taught as a child. My mother is an evangelist. So to give more context to my life story, the twos. My mother and her husband of 46 years just had an anniversary, mom and pop. And they built schools and churches. And so as a young Muslim kid, but I've been baptized 3 times. They dipped me 3 times. But we going to get that demon up out of you. Not my parents, but this Southern Baptist. My mother moved to South Carolina. It was segregated. Ku Klux Klan. Live on this side of the track. Don't you dare come on that side of the track. And just by the way, they just hung a brother in North Carolina. So people think, oh my God, what are you talking about? The Ku Klux? No, they just hung a brother, truck driver, in North Carolina just 2 weeks ago.
That's what I wanted to get into it.
You feel
because
me?
my wife, Sarah,
Yes,
she's from
Sarah,
there.
Sarah.
She's from the Carolinas.
Yeah, of
She's
course
from
she is.
South and North.
Come on, brother.
And I was talking to her and I was like, let's do something about it. And she's telling me all the stories of what's going on and how the government or whoever is controlling is trying to control the money to support or to help the people there, and they're not.
No.
That they're even holding it back. They're making it even harder for them to survive or to recover the land.
Yes.
And I've heard another rumor, if I'm not sure if it's true or not, but there is a lot of lithium under there.
Of course it is.
And that's why,
brother, if it ain't lithium, it's some form, brother. What I love about South Carolina, I have to go to South Carolina at least 2 or 3 times a year because all 3 of my parents live there now. My father used to live out, but due to circumstances, situations, my younger brother was able to buy a ranch. My father's on it, 33 acres. Brother, South Carolina is fundamentally the same that it was 300 years ago. It's an agricultural state, bro. It's still intact. Brother, South Carolina is majority farmland. Fertile farmland. Still, North Carolina is a little bit more advanced and, built upon, but South Carolina. But the sad part, it is so isolated that generations upon generations of generations of hatred. South Carolina was the touching point of slavery.
My mind is blowing right now because I see all the dots all of a sudden connected. Because this week is Genesis,
yes,
Bereshit,
yes,
is Genesis, and it's all about to value the women, to value the land, to value the ground, and you know all about it because you're working with youth now and how to plant sunflowers and to work with the ground. And how can we just not see the fact that if we'll rape the land and keep rape and abuse and pull all the resources out of the land as we do to women, as we did to women for so many generations, how? And then we're gonna cry, oh, we abused the land and now it's not fertile anymore. It's not gonna because we heard it so badly.
Brother, in every script, and I know you study the scripts, I know you study Kabbalah. We discussed that. Do you know in every, when I say every, don't hold me to it, viewers, every mythology, Middle Eastern, Hebrew, Islamic, Native American, the soul of humanity is a voluptuous woman. Think about that. So anyone who is suffering in their souls, their soul is being raped. Their soul is being plummeted. Their soul is being. And so that's why it's so easy for us to tear up the earth. Brother, the spirit is masculine.
Yeah.
The spirit is masculine.
Spear.
Brother, spirit is masculine. How do we know? If you go through the Hebrew words, the Arabic words, the Kemetic words, whatever words you go through. And so if your soul is corrupted, if your soul is tainted, if your soul, the spirit of God, the spirit of the divine will not consummate in that place. The spirit of the divine will not go inside of that place like that. because the spirit in all of our belief systems comes from the divine. And so people who have made a practice of destroying Earth, Mother Earth, why do we call her Mother Earth? We come from her. We need her. They also, and we have now participated because we buy into it knowingly or unknowingly, destroy everything feminine around them.
Yeah.
And then they will attack your masculinity to feminize you. Brother, that's what prison is about. It's an attack on your femininity, brother, because what they isolate you from women so you cannot procreate. And then they die. It's actually sadistic. It is a form of sadomasochism. I wrote a book on this. That what is sadomasochism? What is a sadist? Then I said, oh, this is clearly when you get joy out of killing, harming, raping, destroying other people. The other. Bro, that's the insanity that I started this conversation about how can I hold my humanity and transcend it without getting caught up. Brother, when I first got into prison, Tehachapi, they got us off a bus ride. You're shackled and chained. I felt in my ancestral memory, it was no less than the ships that we was brought over on. Nothing but black majority then and brown faces. It was so bright in Tehachapi, right? Boom. Then they shoved us inside of a dark building. And I hear these dogs, the German Shepherds, they going, they got these bright lights, man. And it was like terrifying. I'm like, this is crazy. This is some shit. Brother, I've never been arrested before. I've never been in jail before. I've never been in prison before, bro. Mm-hmm. But I understand mythology. I understand history. I understand the likes of this shit, man. They've been doing this stuff to people for a long time. So they got us all chained together, and they're hollering and they're screaming. And one brother, he collapses from having, I don't know what it was, a seizure or a fear. And so they're hollering at him, they tell him to get up, and they start to beat him. And I knew not to deliberately put my body upon his body. But I know I had to shield his body because I would want somebody to shield my body. So in the commotion, being that we was chained together, as they whipping, I'm taking the blows. And my point is this. If you're hitting me, if you're striking me, if we're making any contact, you're transmitting something in the contact. The same way when you hold your child, you hug, you're transmitting something. And now I have a part of you. See, the difference with me, it's not causing me trauma because I'm going to use that. I'm going to dissect it. I'm going to study it. And now I got you. And I know it's not you as an individual. I know it's a system, and that system comes from a certain thinking. And that thinking comes from a certain spirit. That's what I'm fighting with. I'm not fighting against you as a person. I'm not even fighting against the system. I'm fighting against the mentality, the psychology, the spirit that drives you so low in your humanity that now you're an animal. You're a beast, and you're beating me under the justification that I'm the animal and beast. But I'm sitting here laying on top of this man, protecting this man, as you got dogs biting on him. Why? Because this is so terrifying that his body freezes up. Mm-hmm. And for that mechanism of flight to flight, yeah, that you tried to destroy him. So what is my greatest act of humanity? Getting up and fighting you so you can shoot me and kill me and I never see my parents again? That I can't get out. I knew I was getting out. There was no doubt in my mind I was getting out because I knew the system couldn't hold me. How you gonna hold me? You're evil. Not you as a person. The system is built on evilness. Yeah. Not you as a person. Yeah. People are not evil, bro.
True.
people. It's what the thinking and the energy that informs that body to behave, move, speak in a certain way. That's of a certain spirit. But that spirit is in submission to my spirit because I have the spirit of God. I have the Spirit of God. So I taste life without the possibility of parole. I ate it. They sentenced me. They gave me a chance to get out. You tell on your co-defendants, you can get out. Well, I'm going to tell on my co-defendants for it because they didn't give us a severance. So if I tell my story about me and my involvement in this case, it would exonerate me because I wasn't in the house during the murders. I wasn't even. But if I speak up while we are on the same case, it sends my co-defendants to death row to be. At that time, I think you go to the. They poison you to death, whatever, gas chamber, shoot you, whatever they're gonna do. So the lesser death penalty is that we just gonna stick you in jail for the rest of your life and just treat you like trash. So my point of this is those of us who are physicians, those of us who are healers, those of us who are under the spirit of Tobiah, taking the good out of the worst situations and showing humanity that we can rise out of the darkness of our worst moments, we have tasted the poison of perversion, of evilness, of wars, of slaughter, of holocaust. And in that poison or that sourness is a sweetness. It's a sweetness. The proof is, I'm here. You asked me, brother, how you doing? I said, I'm very reflective right now. I'm taking this in right now. There's a sweetness to me being there. This is a miracle about me being here right now, talking, communing, speaking to you. I want to get into that. Meeting the canine. You know, Tobias was canine. It was Raphael and Tobias. So when I came through your beautiful door, there was a beautiful dog here named Noodles. Noodles walked up, smelled me. I trained dogs 5 years in prison.
Oh.
You call me the dog whisperer.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
you didn't even know that. Yeah, you can look this stuff up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you.
The most traumatized dogs called Pulse for Life, the dogs program. Me and some of my Jewish brother, John Gropeman, and Dr. Badan Roy came together, put forth a program. I was one of the first 15, 20 guys. And being that I didn't really believe in training dogs, I just couldn't get it. But what I could do, I can recognize their pain and their trauma. So they gave me the roughest dogs. And they're the sweetest. And they used to lock me in the cell. Not lock me, but I had to bring them to the cell because they had to be isolated from the other ones. And not one time has a dog bit me. Well, and I talk to them just like I talk to him. They understand us better than we think they do. And I'm like, listen, we're in this small cell. I know you got them damn sharp ass teeth, but I'm not your enemy. I'm not the person that hurt you. The same people who hurt you hurt me. And so while we're in this cell, we're going to respect each other. And you can talk to me and I talk to you. And those dogs transmitted how they are so open to love and to trust. And they would give their lives for us and we hurt them.
It's beautiful what you're saying, because, in Hebrew, dog is
Yes.
kelev.
Come on.
Kelev is like as heart.
In Arabic is kolb,
Kalb,
is heart, and dog is kalb.
Kalb. So it's as heart. So your dog is as your heart. So it's beautiful, and it's but you were saying something about how our mind kind of, not just our mind, because our mind pulling a lot of information from the environment and how and for so many years I was addicted to porn, and because of what I've been through as a child and the abuse, and sex was kind of a validate place for
That's
me.
one of the roughest addictions, by the way, that porn addiction.
Yeah.
That's one of the roughest one, bro.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
And even though I was separate myself from that and healing myself from that, I was finding myself, separate from my wife for a couple of days, and then alone in a hotel, and then I was like hearing those thoughts.
Yes.
And they wanted to take me back there, and they took me back there,
Yes.
and to the point that I betrayed my wife,
Yes.
and I wasn't with another woman, but
Yes. Mm-hmm.
there is another ways to betray
Oh,
your
brother,
woman,
emotional betrayal, psychological betrayal,
and
cultural,
also
spiritual betrayal. Yes.
and the media and this stupid phone will let us
Mm-hmm.
do some awful things.
Mm-hmm.
And my incredible wife,
Mm-hmm.
she's full
Sarah.
of, yeah, Sarah,
Of course, Sarah.
she's full of compassion and empathy and forgiveness to the point that I just bow to her, and
Mm.
I admire her for that, because she
Mm.
is the greatest teacher of that. And we're speaking about everything, and I'm always be honest in front of her. And I said that, and I said, and I was admitting my and I know, but at the same time that I know where I'm going, I'm kind of in a trap, in a loop of thoughts, and I'm a victim of this system. I'm a victim of this pornography thoughts, images, that I'm like going there. Also, I was embodying a character that I went there for shootings, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have a sense of guilt.
Mm.
And I realized how guilt is also some kind of I
Mm.
my I was um identified by guilt. So I
Yes.
wanted to this it was I've kind of addicted to guilt as well. So I
Yes.
was
Yes. Yeah.
creating those loop of thoughts and putting myself in that position again, in those. And I'm so glad that I have a wife that I can go to, and
Brother.
she can, just with her forgiveness, can
Brother.
heal me.
Brother. For one, for context, the particular demonic spirit inside of our belief systems, demons are not originally demons. Some people believe they're angels, Malik. Some people believe they're jinn. The point of it is they degraded to that state. They debased themselves to that state. They wasn't born or created that way.
Mhm.
Especially if you're looking at it from the Torah, the Bible, or the Injil and the Quran. Clearly, my point.
Mhm.
The demon or devil that's associated with pornography, erotica, is the one in which Tobias has to fight, run off from the bed of Sarah, find in Egypt, bind, and transform back into a useful spirit. What we have to admit and understand first is that we are living in a Greco-Roman mythology.
Mhm.
How can you say that? Name your planets, name your months,
Mhm.
name your holidays. Thank you. That's enough by yourself. In that, we have taken on a culture. Our war culture has nothing to do with the Bible and the Quran. Nothing.
True.
It's Greco-Roman mythology played out. And how we can prove that is, at another time, I give you his name. My man, I forgot his name, but he wrote a whole book. He was a Marine. He went to go fight. He was just so terrible about seeing how his brothers was being done, how it drove him into insanity, how they're doing other people over there. He came back. He went into the Senate or something, politics. He sided up with, I think it was during the Obama watch. And he really thought Obama was going to bring boots off ground. He didn't know he was going to put drones in there. So he was thoroughly disappointed. So he started telling on everybody. And he said, do you know that 4 of Trump's advisors, that's when President Trump was, are Greco-Roman followers. And there's a particular deity of war that they write in their books that this is what we follow. This is the god of war. And so saying this is, if you look at Greco-Roman mythology, you ask me my tools, everything from the pornography to the war to Olympians and to our sports and to our drinking and our eating and our pitting each other against it is perfect to the T. The hardest addiction, and all addiction is set in the same part of the human brain, every single one, cocaine and white sugar. Mm-hmm. That pornography is the one that holds the most shame. Pornography, erotica specifically. And the reason why people like yourself and myself suffer, never victims, because your soul is still beautiful.
Thank you.
Your soul, brother, you can rub shit on me right now. You can slap me in the face with a whole thing of pig shit. You didn't touch me.
Thank you.
You just got pig shit on me. I probably stink. But a pig farmer, like, what's wrong with you? They go, oh, I got pig shit on me. What's the problem? My point of it is, it didn't taint your soul. And that's my point. When we're dealing with things now, we can't. Brother, I was not with a woman for 23 years. My wife at the time, she's deceased. 1997 is when she left. Loved one. It's not so long you can raise your sexual energy up as a young man in prison, in the desert. You want to release. You want to get away. Sexuality is one of the most greatest spiritual gifts that we have been given as human beings. True. It's only so much masturbation you can do. Just to be honest, what do you think? Hundreds of and homosexuality in in California prison is low, especially on the higher levels. And I've been rocking on them for a minute. So it's not like guys are just jumping on guys, whatever the case might be. My point being, once the cell phone was smuggled into the prisons through guards, it wasn't, man, what you gonna do? Keister or stick a cell phone in your butt on a visit? Yee, rough. Ooh, how would you do it? So they was provided by the guards. So when they start finding all these cell phones in the system, and all this, you can get federal state reports. Because, they're going to be trying to kill judges. They're going to be trying to kill the witnesses. 99% of the content on the cell phone was porn. Because we're reaching for what's been taken from us. However, porn, not only does it turns the heart, it also creates very strong neurological processes in the brain maps. And they are the most difficult. Brother, I'm talking about harder than crack cocaine, white sugar. Brother, porn, I know. Because I was a porn addict myself, brother. Once I start watching porn, brother, being denied for 15 or 20 years, and then you seeing women and brother, the natural propensity as a man is driving you. It's a natural divine propensity to create. But it taints and perverts the spirit. So now you look at every woman. You're undressing people. You're looking for this print or you're looking for that. And then we're in America and like people running around here with hijabs on or burqas or something. It's all over the place. Our culture is erotic.
Yeah.
And so we're not victims, we're victors. And we're able to come here and so many people will listen, wow, Tobias has never admitted that he watched porn or he had a porn addiction or he suffers and fights for it. I've never been invited to a couch. That vulnerability is the prerequisite. And there is no shame.
No.
None. Because, once again, and I know we're getting close, I can forgive myself first. And what do I do with that? I give it jab distance.
True.
I give it enough room so I can honor women, I can honor my soul, I can honor children, I can honor parents, I can honor the earth, I can get some room between me and my darkest moments. And I believe that is a more realistic approach to life. Forgive yourself and get that room. And don't forget that you're divine. Don't forget that you are a spirit of light and love and truth. And then we have the greatest capacity to not only love and forgive, but to impact time and space, man. So that's really my message that I offer to you and our beautiful listeners.
I just wanted to echo.
Echo, the echo chamber.
I just want your words to echo as far as possible because, and you know, as we started, tomorrow is Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur, for just to clarify for the one who don't know what it is, it's a Jewish holiday, like this most sacred day for us to forgive and to ask and to say sorry. But it's actually the last chord of a month before that you need to do the work, the preparation for that, and
Yes.
to clean
Yes.
yourself from all the shame, the guilt, or whatever you're
Yes.
being carrying for all the past year.
Yes.
So I'm so beyond honor and grateful to meet you in this life. All of a sudden, we just met each other a month ago, and I'm so excited for the work that we're going to do here on this planet together, and for the
Appreciate you,
peace.
brother.
And
I appreciate you.
and I just thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Brother, I'm going to say this. I have no doubt in my mind that Moshe, Moses, and Muhammad, who are brothers in
For
spirit, they're with us, they're in us. Yahshua, the Christ, they're proud of us, brother. They're proud of us. We're beacons of light, love, and hope. And for them, in that vein and spirit, for any harm that Muslims have done and contributed to the Jewish experience,
And vice versa.
brother, that's what we stand on, brother. Me and you, that's what we own.
Exactly.
That's what we own. And I believe that's power. That's power, brother. And I appreciate the invitation, and I appreciate the listeners considering our love and our offerings to each other in this sacred space.
Amen.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Thank you for everyone for listening. Follow us for more real, authentic conversation that will allow yourself to have some inner peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, my man. Strong, too.